The reunion was supposed to be a night of memories, but for Marcus, it became a stage of humiliation. The laughter was sharp, the whispers cruel, and every mocking glance reminded him of who he once was, the class loser. Yet behind his calm eyes hid a secret powerful enough to silence them all. A truth so shocking it would flip their arrogance into regret within seconds. This is the story of how a forgotten boy returned not to beg for respect, but to reclaim it in a way no one saw coming. High school had been Marcus's battlefield. Old sneakers, secondhand clothes, and a quiet voice had made him an easy target. While others thrived in popularity, Marcus walked hallways invisible, or worse, ridiculed. Prom night was the final humiliation, while the rest danced in glittering gowns and suits. Marcus stayed home alone. After graduation, he vanished from their world. 5 years later, the arrogant clique that once ruled those halls planned a reunion. The invitation was dripping with arrogance, as if daring Marcus to show up and relive his place at the bottom. What they didn't know was that Marcus had spent those years in silence, building something they couldn't imagine. But tonight, he decided to return. Not for revenge, just to see if anything had changed. Little did they know, everything had. The ballroom shimmered with golden chandeliers and polished marble floors. Stepped inside, dressed simply, blending into the background. But the whispers began instantly. Old classmates turned, laughter spreading like wildfire. Same clothes, same loser, one muttered, not enough for others to hear. They flaunted their careers, their new cars, their luxury lifestyles, while stealing glances at Marcus as if mocking him gave their achievements more shine. One of them raised a glass, smirking. Some things never change. Laughter erupted again, cruel and familiar. Marcus stayed calm, his silence unnerving. He walked past their taunts, observing them quietly. Every insult they hurled felt like a replay of the past, dragging him back to the boy who once couldn't fight back. But tonight something was different. Inside him was no anger, only patience. He knew something they didn't, and that knowledge gave him the quiet power to let them laugh. Knowing their time was running out, the evening stretched on. The group grew bolder, calling him out in front of the crowd. "Tell us, Marcus, what have you even done in the last 5 years?" The room burst into mocking applause. He simply smiled, his hands resting calmly at his side. And then, microphone found its way into his hands. The room fell still as Marcus stepped up. Every eye fixed on him, expecting stammering excuses or awkward silence. But his voice was steady. "Funny thing about success," he began, "it doesn't always show on the surface." Confusion rippled across faces once filled with arrogance. He reached into his pocket and held up a Carta Platinum badge few had ever seen. 5 years ago, you laughed at me for having nothing. Today, I own something many of you dream of working for. The whispers turned to gasps. A name flashed on the ballroom screen as he connected his badge to the projector, the billion-dollar tech company he founded. The so-called loser wasn't just successful, it was untouchable. The silence was suffocating. No one dared to laugh now. Faces turned pale. Smug grins dissolved into shame. Marcus didn't gloat. He didn't need to. He simply handed the microphone back, walked through the stunned crowd, and exited the ballroom without looking back. Outside, the night air was crisp, freeing. This wasn't about revenge. It was about closure. The boy they once mocked was gone. In his place stood a man who proved that arrogance fades. But resilience lasts forever. Marcus's story is more than wealth. It's a reminder, never underestimate the quiet ones, 'cause silence often hides storms powerful enough to change the world. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories that inspire and shake the soul.